The early medieval period was the time of religious zeal, which manifested in the foundation of several new, reforming monastic orders. One such order was the Savigniacs, who grew out of the abbey at Savigny in Normandy. Its pious, grey-clad monks soon attracted the support of the Anglo-Norman elites who ruled England, including Roger de Clinton, Bishop of Coventry and Lichfield. On the 8th of August 1135, Roger issued a charter formally founding Buildwas Abbey. King Stephen was also a supporter of the Savignacs, and he confirmed the abbey's foundation in 1138. The monastery attracted the patronage of powerful local families, but despite this, Buildwas was a small and poor monastery. In 1147, Buildwas was merged into the much larger Cistercian order. 8 years later, a talented and energetic man called Ranulf was elected abbot of Buildwas. He ruled the monastery until 1187, and it was during this time that the abbey's impressive stone church was completed, together with the monastery's main buildings, which were arranged around a cloister to the north of the church. Buildwas continued to grow into the 13th century, and the abbey's estates ultimately extended as far away as Derbyshire. Like Cistercian monasteries across England, it obtained much of its income from the sale of fleeces from its flocks of sheep. Buildwas's estates in Derbyshire alone were home to 500 sheep, and there were 300 more pastured in Herefordshire. The abbey's wealth, along with further grants of materials, were probably used to build the infirmary and abbot's lodgings, and also to renovate the church. The abbey's growth continued into the 14th century. Its abbot was summoned to Parliament on many occasions between 1295 and 1324, and in the late 1320s, the young Edward III praised the quality of religious life at the abbey. In 1342, the abbey took a dark turn when the abbot was murdered. A monk called Thomas of Tongue was suspected of the deed. He was imprisoned at the abbey, but somehow managed to escape. In the aftermath, rival factions of monks bitterly contested the election of a new abbot, and in the process, the monastery's possessions were squandered. By 1344, Buildwas had debts of £100. Worse was to come in 1350, as Welsh raiders broke into the monastery, pillaging its treasuries and imprisoning the community. It is also likely that Buildwas was hit hard by the Black Death, which raged across Europe in the mid-14th century. In 1377, there were just 6 monks, and in 1381, the number had fallen to just 4. By 1521, religious life at Buildwas was condemned as deficient in every respect. The abbey was soon caught up in the religious politics of the reign of Henry VIII. The great valuation of ecclesiastical property conducted in 1535 found that Buildwas had a net income of £111. The community then consisted of an abbot and 12 monks, 4 of whom were accused of sexual immorality. A year later, the abbey was dissolved, along with many other lesser monasteries. The abbot received a pension of £16, and the monks were given permission to join larger monasteries, which would themselves be suppressed between 1537 and 1540. In 1539, the abbey and most of its property were sold to Sir Edward Grey, Lord Powis. He settled the estate on his illegitimate son, also called Edward, who converted the former abbot's house and monastic infirmary into a mansion. By the late 17th century, the house was owned by the Moseley family, and it gradually declined in status and was partially demolished, becoming a tenanted farm. In the 19th century, the ruins attracted visitors and artists, which continued until 1925, when the ruins of the church and main cloister buildings were taken into state care. Since 1984, English Heritage has been responsible for preserving the site. Buildwas Abbey is a fantastic place to explore, with the highlight being this chapter house, where you can see original medieval tiles. Though now only a ruin, its elegance and beauty is still visible, and you get a real sense of the splendour that it once was. As you explore, your imagination can take you back to a time that was harsh and punishing. Yet from that darkness came such grandeur as Buildwas, a splendour that has seldom survived through the ages. There is some restoration work taking place, closing off a section, but there is still a lot to see, and it is easy to spend a morning or afternoon taking in the ruins. I highly recommend visiting Buildwas Abbey, as its ruins are a marvel to see. It is free to enter, though there is a small parking charge if you're not a member of English Heritage. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Until then, goodbye.